Good afternoon, and welcome to another exciting adventurous episode of the Real to Real, the Jump Off, the All In Politics platform on the All In Network. Today, we have a very exciting guest for you today. Uh, I just want to run over his extensive background to get you familiarized with Mr. Brian Bages. With over 22 years of professional development garnered through the IT and telecommunication industry, Brian stands as an influential visionary and creative strategist. Having started out as an engineer, he drives to provide high quality and cost effective technology solutions and execute it in tactical and precise measures. Capably working alongside a variety of small and large scale industry clients, spanning from specialists in state, federal government, healthcare to energy efficiency and renewable energy. Brian stands by his beliefs in complete honesty by easily communicating complex technical language and clarified meaningful terms tailored to any audience. With a strong passion to implement high tech green technology solutions worldwide, Brian has well earned his stripes in technology management and received many accolades from his clients from finding affordable alternative solutions for all their business needs as the CEO of Innovative Techno- Technology Holdings. Brian lost his career as an engineer for Integral Wireless Solutions, a multi-million dollar engineering firm specializing in the design and implementation of smart cities and mobility applications such as Cisco, Motorola, Aruba, S2, GANs, Nokia, Axis, and Polycom, and ranging partners like Verizon, ADT Security, Johnson Controls, and A3 Communications. Demonstrating and then engineer manager overseeing 10 different departments and their ongoing initiatives. Despite being tasked with multiple and valuable duties, Brian managed the fifth largest wireless land design and development project across the United States. At this time, this was doing in 2006, driving the planning, installation, and maintenance processes for over 20,000 wireless access points and hundreds of controllers throughout a single client multi campus environment. Not a fan of the common selling technique geared towards clients. Brian generally cares for his clients and team members and demonstrates this by treating his customers and associates as partners. After gaining a foundation in design, installation, engineering, and client service, in 2007, Brian has brought on as a director of mobility and unified communication solutions at Westcon Group North America, a global logistic distributor with technical solutions know-how generating $3 billion in annual revenue. Brian was responsible for managing over 150 staff members in sales and business development. He was shaped into steadfast leader, fostering a supportive and inclusive environment that encouraged even junior associates to have their voices heard. His work with Westcon channeled a pivotal resellers across North America. Under Brian's watch, he grew the Mobility Point program consistently year over year with an average of 31% increase in sales, up to 44 million spanning across his 4 years of employment. Brian's Mobility Point program received Cisco's Esteemed Mobility Partner of the Year award in 2008, which was the first time ever that the award was given to a distributor partner and not to an integrator or large reseller. Despite his love for working in the industry, building brands, becoming his own boss in 2014, he was the best decision for Brian could have made for his career. Witnessing firsthand of the backhandedness that was many large-scale provider companies, Brian was more enthused that even to provide clients with honest consulting services and drew on his vast experience with IT, telecommunications, and security. To start, ITH, known around the globe for providing IT technology infrastructure and application solutions with a specialization in wireless communication, IP video surveillance, advanced analytics, renewable energy solutions, smart city infrastructure, and most recently, a comprehensive COVID 19 response and mitigation total solution program. Brian takes pride in working diligently to design an intricate state of the art strategic plan to enhance the business of his clients as well. Brian recently won an award in 2019 in December from CIO Review as one of the nation's top 20 most promising smart city providers And most recently, in 2020, he received a patent award and issuance of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office for his innovative mobility point connected communities smart pole infrastructure technology designed for smart city and other advanced technological projects. Passionate to his work, Brian is pushing to impact more positive for more positive tomorrow. As a loving husband who takes pride in his projects, he desires to help both small and large businesses find effective solutions to slash budgets, constraints, and supplemented by his compassionate persona to provide others with the best care possible. With ambition to draw forth critical health and public safety solutions worldwide, especially in countries in dire need of progressive change. Brian is a goal oriented individual, well resourced to take on any challenges in his path. When he is not involved in work related activities, he enjoys spending quality time with his wife and family, playing golf, cooking, building with Legos, and rooting on the now defunct Eagles team.
No, no, no.
Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pass it on to my co host, Robert Cooper, who has some very interesting data numbers he would
Yeah,
like to share
absolutely.
before we
Wi-
bring in our guest, Mr. Brian Bages.
First of all, yes. First of all, welcome, Brian, to All in Politics. This is at Rob Cooper. As Walt mentioned, this is really some serious times that we are facing right now. Particularly with the COVID-19 coronavirus, ravishing the United States as well as the world. Currently, in the United States, we have roughly around 17.5 million cases of coronaviruses, and then as well as 314,000 deaths, people who died with the coronavirus. So this is sometimes we've been in basically a pandemic since March. We're rounding out this year. We just saw last week, those of you who have been following the news, you saw that the COVID-19 vaccine has hit the United States. And it will be rolled out and distributed um, via a phased process. And as you're seeing right now, many of the frontline healthcare workers who really have braved this pandemic for the last 8 or 9 months, really just going above and beyond to try to save as many Americans' lives. They're now currently receiving the vaccine, and eventually that will be rolled out in phases throughout the whole general population. But one of the reasons why we brought Brian on is really to get folks to understand, when we are attacking such a novel virus, something that we still are learning about here. Scientists are working, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to see how we can combat this virus. And I think bringing Brian on, and I think, his company, ITH, has some innovative solutions. So I just want to, first of all, welcome you, Brian, to the All In Politics and really start talking about this and just kind of give us a little overview of the products and some of the solutions that you feel that your product can bring to America and also globally to really help combat COVID-19.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Rob and Walt, for inviting me, and really a pleasure to be here today and share some of my insights and experiences with everybody so they could make a little bit better and more informed decision as to how they conduct themselves and the steps that they could take to maybe make themselves and a little bit safer and increase their personal health capabilities. So again, really appreciate being here today and thank you for the opportunity. Innovative Technology Holdings, like most small businesses, when come January, February, as Walt's intro kind of alluded to, we're very big into IT, telecommunications, infrastructure, security, those types of things. And we were hit pretty hard with the shutdowns and things scaling back as far as projects across the nation that we were involved in. And we had to look at where we could pivot and provide value to people beyond what we were doing today, or back then, which was IT. And the immediate need of most people ended up being how are we going to deal with this COVID-19 situation? So we decided to pivot on looking at not so much focusing on the vaccines and treating individuals, but because a lot of a lot of the vaccines, a lot of those topics revolve around things that we as individuals don't control. We have no control over somebody else doing something that we hope that they will do. So, what are the things that we can control to help provide enhanced safety and security and health, not just to us but to our loved ones and the people that we interface and interact with on a daily basis, so we can get back to school, get back to work, and back to the things that we enjoy, including Eagles games, whether they're winning or losing. We still love to be there, rooting and hooting and hollering.
Indeed.
So we developed a program called America's Angels, actually, and it's a comprehensive COVID-19 response and mitigation program. Again, not focused on the vaccines, but focused around what we can control and what we can do today. So when we started looking at what we thought were most important categories from a foundation perspective to start building our program around, we ended up deciding on 4 different pillars of protection, is how we like to label our programs around. And we got the name America's Angels. One of my buddies, Charlie Hill, shout out to Charlie there for coming up with America's Angels and giving us the opportunity to use that name. Started out with drones, actually. And the drones being in the air and flying around, we thought that was pretty cool as to how we were going to approach cleaning and sanitizing and disinfecting big, huge, large open area environments in a timely and cost-effective manner. So that just being one application within our first pillar of protection, which happens to be focused around environmental and surface protections. And I'm sure we'll go in a little bit deeper into that here as our time allows. The second pillar that we focused on was air quality. So the things that we're breathing today, these viruses, germs, and bacteria are either transmitted on the surfaces, pillar 1, or through the air, pillar 2, whether they're sneezes or coughs or things floating around, things on the ground. There's all kinds of ways for these bad things to be transmitted, and we thought that air quality was a significant area that we could influence and provide increased protections and safety around. Pillar 3 for us focuses around the outside of an individual, right? So we know that the coronaviruses and such can live on our clothes, and they can live on our shoes and our hats and our backpacks and such. So how do we ensure that we are not actually carrying the coronavirus, maybe not on the inside of our person, but on the outside of the person, and risking potential contamination of an environment that may have just been disinfected properly from the surface area, but the moment that a human being interfaces and interacts with those environments is the moment where contamination could occur. And then the last pillar that we have, is focusing on the internal assessment and how we approach not just coronaviruses, but the human body as it is exposed to all kinds of different viruses and contagions like Ebola, Legionnaires, and things that we're not necessarily focused on today, but viruses and germs and bacteria and contagions as a total holistic topic represent a very real risk to society and to people's health and well-being around the world, not just here in America.
In these innovative products that you have, and I appreciate you giving those overviews. One of the challenges I think that we have right now with COVID-19 and folks who are being infected are generally folks in the lower income or African American and Latino communities. How do we get these? I know when they're talking about from a vaccine standpoint, they're looking at, trying to reach out and educate, a community that has been, right through environmental racism and so on and so forth, not had access to these things. How do we gain that? How do we get some products like this to that community? Because that's where we can see where the virus is truly spreading at, and is really becoming a product for the community and the country of whole?
Yeah, I think that's a great question that has a little bit of a challenging response, because it requires, I think, multiple different people, organizations, legislatures, governments from a local, state, and federal level to have to come together in order to be able to create standards and solutions and make these advanced technologies and capabilities available to everybody,
Right.
not just the ones that can afford it today, right? Because viruses spread and we all have to go back to work and we all interface with each other. So it's not just I don't see it as just a particular race or gender or income level issue. It truly is a human being issue, and that's really how we have to approach it, right? So I think that to answer your question, I think my opinion on the topic is that I forecast that you're going to see municipalities, states, and the federal government coming together to create grants and various buckets of money to be able to help support individuals and families who are on the lower income level that can't afford these things, to be able to implement them and safeguard them inside their own homes, let alone also the commercial businesses and the places that we want to go to. I think the statistic, and correct me if I'm wrong, is something like 78% of all COVID cases actually are contracted inside the home, not inside the business. So, so that's an individual going outside, getting it from somewhere and then bringing it back. And if we're being told to stay at home as much as possible, I think that there has to be a significant effort underway to focus on how we can help better protect individuals' homes so that, we reduce the risk of transmission as much as possible.
That's good. And I'm glad. I'm gonna piggyback a little bit off of what Rob said as far as the diversity in the virus spreading, and trying to get to containment and trying to find some solution for mitigation. Now I know that you had mentioned that the household. So you guys do provide services for professionals as well as regular consumers. So would you guys like have something like HVAC services and stuff that can probably help reduce the mitigation of the spread in households? Whereas though, like you said, some of these things may be expensive the most, but there can be, collateral costs that can cut down on it if there's something that can be probably generated through home use.
Yeah, great question, Walt. The answer is absolutely. We have a host of different products and technology solutions that apply to various sizes of homes and various price levels that people can afford in order to be able to take entry level all the way through comprehensive full-blown steps in order to safeguard their home as much as possible. And let's just, state for the record that there's no 100% guarantee of anything out here, right? That is going to, provide full protection. So the only thing that we can truly do is provide is the highest level of percentage capability to lower the risk factor in contracting or transmitting the virus. So with regards to the home, we have three different types of products that we look at to offer to individuals and commercial businesses as well, because we take the same approach for homes as we do businesses. They're all still brick and mortar facilities. The only question is in your home or business, do you have a centralized HVAC system, or do you not have that and you need a wall plug-in unit or something that can provide the same level of quality care and protection?
Indeed.
So let's delve a little bit into this. Like I know you mentioned about the PureAir Solo product. Talk to us a little bit about that. And that's something that could be available, immediately to individuals. And how effective is that in helping folks during COVID-19?
Yeah, the Solo product is is pretty amazing, and it's all based upon science. So, Rob, you had made the statement that that the All In Politics show is very focused on the science around technology and the COVID situation. So, I'd love to just maybe spend a moment on the actual science itself as to how the product came together and how it actually works for people. So. Science tells us that the coronavirus genome, okay, and there's all kinds of mutations and strains of viruses, including coronavirus, but the genome itself is made up of two layers. You have an outside membrane layer that protects the infectious protein that kind of sits in the center of the nucleus of that cell as it either floats around in the air or is on a surface. The outside membrane is a positively charged particle or portion of that particle. The infectious protein itself is a negatively charged component of that total genome. So Physics 101 and the science behind it tells us, if you've ever played with magnets, if you think back in the day, if you have reverse polarity magnets, a positive and a negative, when they come together, they're going to stick together, right? And they don't come apart, and they attract each other. When you have a positive and a positive, or a negative and negative, the same polarity, they're actually never going to touch, and they repel each other away. So as the virus floats around in the air, and it's a positively charged particle in the air, what we do on surfaces today is we apply a negative electrostatic application to the surface disinfectant because we want to attract that virus down to the surface so that the chemicals we put on the table and the desks will deteriorate that particle, expose the infectious protein, and make the kill claim. What our technology does as a personal air purifier, now, of course, it's going to get rid of allergens and odors and all the kinds of things that people naturally associate with air purification to begin with. But what's special about our technology is that we're omitting an artificial, positively charged ionic atmosphere around your personal breathing space. So as we mentioned, positively charged atmosphere, positively charged particle, what's going to happen? We're going to repel those viruses away from your personal breathing space. So a lot of the third-party efficacy studies around the technology itself show us that we can significantly improve the effectiveness of a person's PPE mask when worn in combination with our device. So the statistics look like this. If you wear our device in combination with an N95 mask, and wait, let me actually take a step back here real quick. Rob, Walt, are you guys familiar with the difference between an N95 PPE mask and a KN95 PPE mask?
Now, why don't you educate us and the listeners on the differences of those? Because I think a lot of folks are just wearing face coverings and not really knowing what the differences are.
Okay, got it. So, and there is definitely a big difference between just face coverings and then there being a PPE mask, right? So
right.
The N95 PPE mask, which at the onset of coronavirus here in the pandemic, it's what everybody was looking for. You know, everybody was out there looking for the 3M N95 mask, which is the contractor grade mask. Okay, that's the best one you can buy on the market, so to speak. Now, that mask, under normal breathing volumes of about 30 liters per minute, is still going to allow approximately 2% of fine and ultrafine particles to sneak through your mask potentially, okay? The KN95 mask is that blue surgical mask. It looks like a layered paper mask that has filters in it, right? And a lot of exposure on the upper nose and such like that, right? So, and that's kind of probably the more popular filtered mask that people wear today. That mask, generally speaking, allows under normal breathing volumes approximately 6 to 11% of fine and ultrafine particles to still sneak through your mask. So again, we talked about there being nothing 100%. The masks are the same thing, as we all know. It's not 100%, but it significantly protects and enhances your ability to block those viruses from entering into your person. So when you wear our device in combination with your N95 mask, we take that 2% of fine and ultrafine particles that could sneak through your mask, and we reduce that down to 0.1%
Wow.
of only ultrafine particles that can sneak through your mask. When you wear our device in combination with your KN95 mask, we reduce that from 6 to 11% of fine and ultrafine particles that could sneak through down to 0.3% of only ultrafine particles that can sneak through. The reason why is because what the viruses is sneaking through are all those little gaps in the filters, right? So there's still air space that they're sneaking through. The ionic atmosphere that we create fills in all of those gaps to repel them again away from your personal breathing space, as we're starting to repel approximately 3 feet away from your personal breathing space. So the statistic, a different way to look at the statistic, shows us that we enhance the effectiveness of an N95 mask 48.4 times, and we enhance the effectiveness of a KN95 mask 194 times. And that's not that's what the third-party lab tests show us today.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's a
You're
lot.
listening. You're
I'm sorry.
listening to All In Politics. This is at Rob Cooper, along with Walter Damager, with our special guest, Brian Bejes. This is All In Politics, as well as all of your All In content on the network can be found on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube at All In Network and type in All In Network to the YouTube channel. And Walt, when they get there, what should they do when they get to the YouTube channel?
Whatever device they're using, utilize it to its fullest extent. You're going to grab it, open the app. You're going to turn around, do a 360-degree turn, and do a double slam that subscribe button. I want you to smash it.
That's right. Smash that subscribe button. Also, there's an easier way to get to our website. If you go to allinnetwork.net, you can also find all of our content. Again, our allin.net. And if you're a sports fan, as Brian and Walt both are, as well as myself, Eagles fans, we have an All In sports show with Elijah Cooper and Matt Batson. They'll bring you up on all of your information needs in sports, with the NFL wrapping up pretty much, and the NBA just beginning. These two guys give some phenomenal insights, and I think you want to listen up for the next couple of podcasts to find out where you think Ben Simmons is going. Is he going to stay in Philadelphia, or is he going to go to Houston? So again, allinnetwork.net for all of your podcast needs. We continue to give the voice to the voiceless. Well, this has been a great show, Brian, but I really want to, one, as a service to our folks, we want to be able to make some of these products accessible to them. And I want to ask you, how can we, how can an all-in listener get a hold of this product?
Yeah, the all-in listeners can absolutely go to our website, www.innovativetechholdings.com, to get some more information. Some of our products can even be ordered directly off of the website. We are offering to all of your listeners out there today, with regards to our Solo product for wearing purposes, personal protection. On the Solo page itself, you can insert promo code ALLIN, all capitals ALLIN, to receive a special holiday discount brought to you by the All In Network, that will help everybody save a little bit of money and make them a little bit more affordable out there today.
That's
Well,
good.
well, that's great, and this is a great opportunity for you. Again, go to innovativetechholdings.com to make sure that you can go get your Pure Air Solo product. And again, if you use the promo code ALLIN, ALLIN, you'll get a $10 discount And again, that's because really, not just to boost yourself, but we want you to be safe. And we believe in this product. And, we just want folks to know that there's a lot of alternatives and a lot of different ways. We want you to, I'm not going to tell you how to go about your business as far as protecting yourself and your family. But what I will say is go seek out as much information as you can regarding the vaccine, regarding sterilization products, whatever you need to do to protect you and your family and of course society from this COVID-19. As I mentioned in the opening, 300 and some odd thousand folks have passed away so far, and really they perished because we just didn't have the knowledge. Now, as more knowledge is coming to us, take advantage of that and protect your family. So, Walt, why don't you take us out?
Yeah, before we sign off, I did want to give Brian the opportunity just to intimately go over some of the products that would be available for purchases for our commercial listeners as far as our individual listeners. I know we touched on a couple of them, but there's a plethora of services that they provide. I just wanted to give them the open floor real quick so we can go through some of those.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Walt. And if I got just a couple minutes, I'd love to probably just focus on one particular product that I think is imperative for listeners to actually know about because it is very significant to, and I believe a huge part of how we get back to normal and then move forward from the COVID-19 pandemic. And that is associated with our HVAC system, our HVAC retrofit. So normally when I speak about this, I love to ask a quick question, if you don't mind, Rob and Walt. Love to ask you guys just really quick. With regards to your HVAC, whether at home or in your buildings and businesses that you go in, how often are the air ducts themselves cleaned and sanitized on the inside? If you could remember.
Probably once every 6 months, probably.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Most times people will say, I can't remember the last time we actually really truly sanitized and cleaned the inside of the air ducts. The reason why, they're just really hard to reach and it's very difficult, expensive, the whole 9 yards, right? And they're not environmentally sound. A lot of people today are investing their money in these expensive filters, right, that go into the air conditioning and heating units themselves. To some of them even have these awesome UVC lamps that are supposed to do disinfection of the air itself. So as you think about one of the key ways that, again, viruses are transmitted, it's through a home or a business's actual air ventilation system that recycles the air and distributes it throughout a room or an environment. So if you were to take a very expensive, we'll say MERV 13 filter that is top of the line, hundreds and hundreds of dollars with the UVC filtering capability, that air, as it's leaving the unit and going through a dirty air duct system, is actually contaminated, and that's what we're breathing in. So what our units do is, what's special about our units is that we call them an induct system, okay? So they don't actually interface with the air handler units like a filter would. We engineer them to get cut into the air duct ventilation distribution system so that as the air passes by our technology in the air ducts, not only are we cleaning and sanitizing the air using UVC lamp technology, the same as the filters we talked about in the air handler unit, but what makes us so special is that we have a proprietary catalyst technology that takes the natural water moisture molecules in the air that's everywhere, and we convert them to a safe to breathe vaporous hydrogen peroxide. And hydrogen peroxide, as we all know, safe for our boo-boos. We all remember those stings as a kid that, our moms put hydrogen peroxide on our cuts. And hydrogen peroxide is widely adopted and used by hospitals and the medical community around the world. So if you can think about this, viruses, germs, and bacteria floating around in the air, and we talked about how the Solo repels those things away from our breathing space. But we want to be able to actually get rid of all of those things and stop the transmission altogether. What our technology does now is turns the air into a safe to breathe disinfectant vehicle that's going to take out all of these things in the air that we're breathing, in addition to doing that 24/7 in an occupied airspace, because the FDA does not approve UVC lights being used in human skin exposure and eye exposure because of the adverse reactions that people have to exposure to that. So now the air itself is going to clean and disinfect and get rid of all these bad things. But then as well, what it's going to do, it's going to act as a redundant layer of surface disinfectant. Because again, as a human being is introduced to a just clean and sanitized environment, and we wipe our arms on the desk in front of us there, that disinfectant is gone, right? And now that's left unprotected. Well, our technology now uses the air, and the air, what doesn't the air touch, right? So now the air will act as a second layer or a redundant layer of surface protection during the middle of the days where you're not doing repetitive cleaning and sanitization of the environment and the surfaces. And I think that that is extremely important for the listeners to know that a technology like that exists today, because I believe that this is a critical component to how we get children safely back to school and adults safely back to work, while significantly minimizing the risk of exposure and transmission, because we're stopping it in the air itself and on the surfaces at all times in an occupied airspace or environment. Sorry. We also have drones for indoor-outdoor flights to for efficiency purposes, for things like airports, playgrounds, hospitals, parking lots, professional sports stadiums, right? We as fans want to get back to the Eagle Stadium and get back into the link, but we need to make sure that those environments are safe for us to come back to. And a lot of our technologies, again, all of our technology is focused on how we better protect people and the businesses and environments we interact with. And we provide professional services for those commercial businesses for everything that you'll find on our website, as far as sanitization, disinfectant, installation, design, maintenance, and support. I appreciate you giving me that opportunity, Walt, to share a little bit more about our technology.
Yes, indeed, because I think it's very important and imperative, like Rob said earlier in the broadcast, we want to keep America safe, secure, and definitely, clean, and be educated on, the ways that we can effectively um, stay vigilant, because this virus is not taking any names and is not being friendly. So
That's
with
true.
that being said, we appreciate you, Brian. Like I said, the fans of the page can go to the link. Brian, you want to provide that again? Your webpage?
The webpage is www.innovativetechnologyholdings.com. Go over to our drop down under our solutions tab, and you'll find all the various types of smart city technology and COVID-19 response and mitigation services and solutions that we do offer to individuals and to businesses across the world.
Yeah, that's good. Is there a direct number that you would like people to reach out to you as well, or would you like them just to come through the email?
Yeah, they could come through email. You could send us an email through pureairsales@innovativetechholdings.com, and you can also reach us on the telephone at our general office number of 215-650-3555. Again, that's 215-650-3555. Or you can also reach us via email off of our website, and we'll be more than happy to take a look at your specific situation and your environment, and give you the best recommendations that we can for your situation.
Thank you. Again, we'd like to thank you, Brian, for taking the time out to come and explain your products and services. We do appreciate you for thinking about us, not only your family. You considered everybody in the nation a part of your family as well, looking for these innovative services to help mitigate this crisis. So, with that being said, this is another exciting episode of The Real to Real, the Jump Off, the All In Politics platform on the All In Network. I'm your host, Walt the Damager, and on the side is my trustful companion and co host.
At Rob Cooper Jr. Peace.
Peace.